What's up, everybody? It's your boy aka Big Zeke, coming to y'all with a special edition of Weekly Inspirational Thoughts. I pray that y'all have been doing well. I pray your families have been doing well. And we're going to jump right into this thing, okay? This week's WIT is entitled Live Life Integrally. Live Life Integrally. The reference scriptures I have are coming from Psalm chapter 15, the whole chapter, because it's 5 verses, and Psalm chapter 25, verse 21. All can be read in the King James as well as the NIV versions. So, I'm going to jump right into the reading, which is Psalm chapter 15. I'm going to read the NIV version, which reads, Lord, who may dwell in your sacred tent? Who may live on your holy mountain? The one whose walk is blameless, who does what is righteous, who speaks the truth from their heart, whose tongue utters no slander, who does no wrong to a neighbor, and casts no slur on others, who despises a vile person, but honors those who fear the Lord, who keeps an oath even when it hurts, and does not change their mind, who lends money to the poor without interest, who does not accept a bribe against the innocent. Whoever does these things will never be shaken. That was Psalm chapter 15 and Psalm chapter 25, verse 21. Let integrity and uprightness preserve me, for I wait on thee. That was the King James, and the NIV reads, May integrity and uprightness protect me, because my hope, Lord, is in you. Okay? So, in preparing for this, I ran across a few definitions that I'm going to read quickly. The first is from Webster Dictionary, and it reads, firm adherence to a code of especially moral or artistic values, incorruptibility. Okay? The Cambridge Dictionary's definition of integrity is the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles that you refuse to change. And the Collins Dictionary reads the quality or state of being of a sound moral principle, uprightness, honesty, and sincerity. So, the things that I take away from those definitions is this: having integrity is being honest, having a good moral ground, good moral principle. Okay, that's what I drew from that. We're gonna dive right into the notes. Keep those things in mind because the first point ties into honesty. Living an integral life means not only being honest with God and the people that you deal with in your life, family, friends, business associates, church members, classmates, etc., but it also means and starts with being honest with yourself about everything. Your thoughts, your feelings, who you are, why you do things, what you believe, your belief system, why you operate the way you do, all of that. Okay? If you can't be honest with yourself, then you will not be able to be honest with anybody else. So, living an integral life starts with being honest with yourself and who you are and why you are the way you are. Okay? My next point, when you live a life of integrity, you can't operate on corrupt values or corrupt foundation with corrupt motives and try to make them integral. Basically put, don't be deceitful in the way you operate or why you operate that way because it's not integral. Okay? You can't have an integral lifestyle based on a corrupt foundation. That's not the way it goes. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. If you're living a life of integrity, your foundation has to be full of integrity. It has to be full of honesty, good moral value, incorruptible. That's just the way it is. It has to be that way. If it didn't have to be that way, God wouldn't have made it that way. That's how I look at it. If you could live an integral life on corrupt values, a lot of people probably would do it. I ain't gonna say everybody, but a lot of people would probably do it. So that's the way it is. It just doesn't work that way, okay? Next point. When we live an integral life, we don't have to put others down or badmouth them or talk about them to elevate ourselves. God will do the elevating in our lives on His time according to us obeying His will in our lives. So there's no need to try to gain favor, especially at the expense of others, because it won't work anyways. How many times you seen people use that step on anybody's toes to get to the top mentality? That's not being integral. That's not living an integral life. Living an integral life is just that, being who you are. You don't gotta talk about nobody. You don't gotta look down your nose at nobody. You don't have to do anything that puts others down just to lift yourself up. If you're living an integral life, your actions are going to be the basis on your elevation from God. That's my belief. That's not scripture I'm quoting y'all, but I believe that the things that you do, God will reward you if you're operating in His will and living an integral life in His will. He's gonna do the rewarding. So you ain't gotta put nobody down to try to embarrass somebody or make somebody else look bad for you to look good. If you're living an integral lifestyle, your actions are gonna do that for you. Okay. Next point. Living integrally may not be the most popular thing to do, especially in today's world, but it is the most fulfilling and most rewarding way to live. You know, the most popular thing to do. We live in a time where everybody's calling bad good and good bad. And so the most popular thing to do may not always be the right thing to do or the most integral thing to do, but it's the most popular. It's kind of like what our parents used to tell us when we did something and we blame somebody else and they say, oh, well, if all your friends do this, are you going to do it too? That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. So living a life of integrity, it may not be the most popular thing. People, oh, you too stuffy, or you too holier than thou, whatever. Let them say what they want. Because I guarantee you the fulfillment you'll get out of living an integral life and the reward you get from God for living an integral life is far greater than anything that going with the popular vote will ever get you. Okay? Now, my next point is a disclaimer. When you are trying to live a life of integrity, be prepared to lose some friends and possibly family along the way, especially if your lifestyle and or your choices don't line up with their agenda. My reference scripture for that is Isaiah chapter 5 verse 20. The King James Version reads, woe unto them that call evil good and good evil. I was just talking about that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. You got a lot of people out here who, if you don't do the things in your life that they think you should do because it doesn't benefit them, they will walk out and disappear quicker than smoke. They'll turn on you. And it ain't even you trying to make yourself seem like you're better than them or anything like that. But it's just you trying to do what's best for you. And because it doesn't line up with their agenda, they'll disappear. Or they'll turn on you. Or they'll try to get you to turn on your beliefs. You know. So, prime example of that, remember when Job was going through what he was going through? And his wife, of all people, basically told him, you ought to turn your back on God. It ain't working. But in the face of all that, Job still had the strength enough to tell her, no, you speak like a foolish woman. I ain't turning on God. I'm paraphrasing. I ain't turning on God. I ain't turning on my beliefs. I'm not turning on living this life. So living an integral life, sometimes you will cost you people. Now, in that case, it didn't cost Job his wife, but y'all get what I'm saying. People will turn on you, and all because you choose to live a life full of integrity. How many times in life you have chosen to do something that you felt was the right thing or the integral thing to do, and then the people around you who you thought was going to ride with you disappear? It happens. And I'm not saying that like you should be suspicious of everybody or paranoid for everybody, but, And my final point, living an integral life doesn't make you better than anyone. It just means that you're trying to make yourself better. That's it. We ain't got to look down on nobody. We ain't got to talk about nobody. We ain't got to bash nobody. None of that. Okay? That's all I got for this week. I love y'all. God bless y'all. I will be back on my normal schedule on Monday. I pray